Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And welcome. This is the show where we celebrate the connection with your pets. And you can call us, ask your questions. Joey Villani, our groomer, or Dr. Debbie, our veterinarian. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405. Don't forget, you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. So download that puppy right now. On today's show, this is exciting. For me, at least. I was a rocker. Lori knows I was a rocker. We've known each other, 30 years now? More than 30 years. Yeah. And when we first met, I had the longest hair. I've been a rocker. I love the classic.
You're still a rocker.
I still am a rocker, a little bit. One of the groups that I grew up to was Bad Company and Free.
Love them.
Oh, yeah.
Love 'em.
Very familiar with them.
And Paul Rodgers, the lead singer, he is now hanging out with animals. Other than two-legged animals, and not the group, the animals, he's hanging out with wild animals at a sanctuary.
Cool.
I understand his wife is a rescuer. She rescues a lot of animals. So they're going to both be on the show today before it finishes. So stick around for that. We'll go to the phones for your calls in just a second. Lori, what are you working on for this hour?
Well, I was going to say, if you're a rescuer and you're in a family, it's hard to do it alone. It becomes a family story.
It sure does.
I'm working on a story. There's this same-sex animal couple out there in the world that is getting ready to expand their family, and as you can imagine, has captured a lot of attention. So I'll tell you a little bit more about them.
I got to say, I get many questions about this. People say, "Oh, is my dog homosexual?" And
what do you say? Because dogs will hump other dogs. It's a dominance thing. It has nothing to do with sex.
Exactly. So I think it muddies the waters because we know dogs do that just out of dominance. But there's a whole spectrum of sexual behavior across all animal life. So maybe we don't know as much as we think we do.
So I cannot wait till Lori's story at the bottom of the hour. But first, in between then and now, is you. 1-866-405-8405. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Where are you calling from today?
I am calling from Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Okay. How can we help you? I have the whole team here for you.
So I have a 1.5-year-old puppy. He is and he's been having some issues with allergies. He's had multiple skin infections, eye infections, ear infections, the whole shebang. So we have gone to a hydrolyzed diet. We have done hydroxyzine. We have done Benadryl. We have done Zyrtec. We have done pretty much everything. And my vet now wants to try Apoquel. And I'm a little apprehensive about it because it's an immunosuppressive.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I was wondering what your thoughts are on the drug.
Okay. Well, my first thoughts are anytime that I hear of a young Labrador that is having skin problems, itching, scratching, ear infections, and rashes, I do put my clinical radar towards allergies. But first, I do want to make sure we do a very thorough flea treatment regimen, as well as even checking and treating for other things that can be going on at the same time. So making sure we are treating.
He's on religious flea medication every month.
Good. And then I'm assuming as a veterinarian, your veterinarian is probably also treated for the bacterial infection, yeast infections, checking for mites, because all of those things can make our assessment of how well we respond to allergy therapy kind of muddy, if you will. So I always treat for skin mites, the microscopic form, even if I don't see them on my test, because we have to get that off the list. So that's specifically Demodex and scabies mites. So make sure that your veterinarian has treated for that. It's pretty simple, easy with either topicals or oral forms of medicine.
Is there, can you also use like a shampoo to treat that? Because we have done that as well.
So talking about that topical therapy and using the shampoo, which can be a relief for the itching and the scratch, not unlike if you've got chicken pox and you soak in a Vino bath. But some of the other things you mentioned, diet. Yes, I like the idea of the hydrolyzed diet. And just while you're doing that, making sure that we're not using any other treats, rawhides, flavored supplements, or any types of medications that may be in a flavored form. Otherwise, that'll kind of thwart our efforts there. So then we get to things like Apoquel and even the other medicine, Cytopoint, which is in an injection form. For a pet that's having a lot of itching, I do feel that these drugs have a great benefit, and they can be life-changing. I've seen some young labs go from irritable, itchy, unhappy dogs to just a completely happy, contented companion. So they do have their place. Now, you ask about the long-term use of Apoquel, and some of that is I don't think we really know, because it is technically something that affects their immune system. Yeah, we do have to do monitoring of blood and urine, and we do that once to twice a year. So for pets that I have on it long term, I do that. And I could tell you, I've been using this for, probably 3 to 4 years, exclusively on some pets in long-term control for allergies. And we've had a few bouts of papilloma, which are a viral-induced kind of skin growth. But I can't say we've seen anything really horrible. But still, it's still something to be seen, I think, for some of the long-term effects. But it really can be life-changing. So I definitely encourage that. And just for those that don't know, Apoquel and the other medicine I mentioned, Cytopoint, they're drugs that help to kind of stop some of the pathway of the itch cycle in dogs. So they work in different mechanisms, but Apoquel basically helps to kind of shut down part of the enzyme pathway involved with itch. And it doesn't help every dog, but it can help a vast majority of dogs that I see with allergies. And then the other kind of thing, the short-term one, is the injection that lasts for about 4 weeks, up to 8 weeks. And that might be even a short-term bridging thing that we can look at doing.
Well, before I did speak with you, I did start him on it, and he's been on the loading dose for like 2 weeks, and he is considerably better.
Yay. Okay. Awesome. Good.
So I was like, you know what? Because he's on antibiotics. He did have an ear swab. He has definitely a yeast ear infection. And I'm just like, I can't torture. I feel like he's being tortured. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to give it a go.
Yeah.
So
and I say, the two big things that I'd encourage you, because he is so young, is definitely find a diet that works for him, because food allergy is a very common cause of allergy symptoms in a young dog. I've seen it as puppies 6 months and older where they start to have allergy symptoms. So food is definitely one thing to look at. The other might also give you time to look at the resources to get him allergy tested. And there's the different ways to do that, either the blood allergy testing or seeing a dermatologist for the skin patch testing. But skin patch testing is by far the best way to diagnose that. And that might be a good kind of long-term step, is see what he is allergic to, and are there things you can avoid. But if not, then maybe get him on allergen therapy, and that can help dampen his response to those allergens when he encounters them in the future. So you've got a lot of that. Yeah, and there's a lot of opportunities. I am so happy in current years. We have so much more to offer pets with allergy symptoms than just antihistamines. And I hate when that's people, that's all they've used for their dogs, because there's so many good things out there now that have been proven, have good safety profiles, and can really do a lot for our animals. So,
well, I am an old oncology nurse, and I know what some of these immunosuppressants do to people. So I was just concerned about my pups. Like, I don't want, his bone marrow to be depressed for too long and stuff like that, because I don't want him to have other issues further down the road, because, it is relatively new. So that was why I was like, well, I'll call Dr. Debbie and see what her thoughts are.
Oh,
just kind of
very good.
A second opinion, just to see.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for, Paul. And best wishes with your little Labrador there.
Thank you so much for your help.
Take care. Toll free 1-866-405-8405 to reach out to the Dream Team. And don't forget, you can also ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Hey, Jeannie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Roanoke, Virginia.
It's a beautiful place. Spent a little time there. I got the doctor here, Dr. Debbie. What's going on?
Hi.
Hi. I am owned by a cat who is 10 years old.
At least you can admit it. That's wonderful.
He has me very well trained. I walk on my end of the leash. It works really well for us. He drools more than the Basset Hounds I've owned in my life.
Oh,
and
in
I
what
don't
situations?
know if this is a normal thing, because it seems to be getting that he drools more than he used to. And it's just really weird.
So what context? When is he doing this drooling behavior?
When he's happy, when he's being petted and purring, and it just sits and drips off of him, and then he slobbers it all over the place, just like a DOG does.
Oh, yes. So if this behavior is happening when he's in a content emotional state, We kind of call these guys happy droolers. And in most cases, it's a completely normal response. It's just a parasympathetic response that they have when they're in a happy place.
Okay.
To stop it, I don't know. He's a happy guy. This is his way of telling you. I guess the challenge I would have would be that, if you wake up and you've got a big spittle of drool about to fall on your face, it would remind me of me and my brother when we were kids and you try to spit on each other, spit in you. Yeah. So. But, the other things, the other concerns that I have when we have a really drooly kitty, because it's not as common, like you say, we're not a basset hound, an English bulldog, cats. So some other concerns we have with excessive drooling are nausea, dental disease, and like respiratory infections, things like that. But one of the dental concerns that in many cases that I'll look at, and if you haven't had his teeth looked at recently, I would encourage it, because we can see a problem called root lesions, which are basically the closest thing would be like cavities in humans, where cats can get these holes in the enamel of their teeth, and that can cause some pain and other issues going on. So that could potentially lead to more drooling than we might tend to see, or other causes of tummy upset.
Okay.
But I'd say if we tend to do this only in those situations when he's happy, you just got a drooler on your hands, and you're going to need a bib.
I just continue to tell him I love him drooly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Ginny, thank you so much for your call today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
1-866-405-8405. I'm a happy drooler.
Yes, you are.
I am. Don't you know this healthy serving of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals canned food for dogs and cats? It is always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. You can learn more over at redbarninc.com, and thank you, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Do you travel with your dog?
Of course. My pets are part of our family.
Me too. I take Daisy with me everywhere. Right, Daisy? So how do you find out what hotels welcome your dog?
I read Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog.
Sounds perfect for planning our next vacation. Right, Daisy?
It is. Their motto is leave no dog behind, and they have great hotel and destination reviews.
Where can I find the magazine?
Go online to FidoFriendly.com.
I will for sure. Come on, Daisy. We're off to find our next adventure.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ross on Animal Radio. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Judy has brought in candy today. It's leftover. Is it leftover? Did you really collect all that candy going trick-or-treating?
Yeah, I put on my costume. Nobody knew me. They couldn't see my face. So I was a big kid.
Oh, and I thought that was just leftover candy that you couldn't give out. But
no, this is my stash.
I always give out like double and triple the amount near the end of trick-or-treating.
Yes.
So I always get too much.
That's and people wait for your house till
the end.
They know it's near the end.
We go by Dr. Debbie's house about 11 o'clock at night.
Did I ever tell you the story of the time that I wasn't home for trick-or-treaters, but I had tons of candy and I put the bowl out?
The honor system.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so we set up a video camera just so I could watch and enjoy, the kids and seeing all their joy. And then one of the first few kids took all of the candy and then left the empty bowl. And then I had to look at the tragic eyes of those sad kids afterwards. I got no candy. I was so mad. I'll never do that again.
The honor system really doesn't work with trick-or-treat candy, huh?
Not at all. So, yeah, keep it for yourself, guys.
Okay, there you go.
Did you recognize the kid who took it all?
I did not. No.
Oh. Post a picture. Do you know this kid? I want my candy back.
Oh, so I see that Paul Rodgers is supposed to be on the show next hour.
Yes.
And, of course, from Bad Company and Free and what other bands? The Firm. He's really has a pretty long... And he's still singing.
Still doing his music.
He has a brand new song out. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's called Free Spirit.
Okay, and he is hanging out with wild animals. And that's why we're talking to him today. He'll be coming up next hour right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
I found for you a new study that investigates if dogs understand those words that are associated with objects. We teach them commands based on these words, ball, bone, things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll find out what The experts found out.
Ladybug knows words. If I tell her to go get something, she'll walk by everything and look for it until she finds what I've asked her to get.
Unless it's the new lamb chop doll, which she has no. She just looks at you and is like, "You're going to give me lamb chops?"
She hasn't learned that one, but she knows her other toys, and she knows the bone and the ball. If I tell her to go, "Where's your bone?" she'll go to her bed and dig it out. "Where's your ball?" she'll go by her stuffed animals and look for the ball.
Yeah.
She knows.
I've pet sat dogs that I had to spell words for.
Yeah,
because they knew the words. Yeah.
Oh, we do that with Ladybug. We spell WALK, except now she knows what that.
So we just say W.
Yeah. And sometimes just woo. Yeah.
Or we just look at each other.
Hand signals will be next, guys, when she figures all that out.
Yep.
Well, I did when she was young. I taught her a hand signal for go for a walk.
Oh, yeah?
And it still works to this day. She's 10 years old, and if I give her the hand signal...
Don't do it.
No, I can't. I'm not going to do it. But if I do the hand signal, she starts jumping around. She knows what that signal means.
I actually encourage pet owners to pair a hand signal with a lot of the different commands, because then as they get older and they might lose hearing, they can still follow your instruction by knowing that hand signal. So good job, Judy. You'll be ready for her senior years.
She's actually perked up her ears during this conversation because of those words that we said during it.
Yes, she knows. She's a smart little cookie.
Okay. That's coming up in the news in just a few minutes. Let's go to your calls right now. And line 4, toll free, 1-866-405-8405. Hi, Tanya.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, barely. Are you whispering?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. What's going on?
Okay. My kitten, she has this waxy discharge in the ears for the Bordeaux, and I am holistic, so I'm glad to talk to you about it. I've been treating it with eucalyptus oil, and I read the book, so what I do is pour it in the ear.
What are you treating it with? I couldn't catch that.
Eucalyptus oil.
Is she scratching at the ears? Is that why you were treating them, or is it just a waxy...
She's shaking her head and all that. Oh, yeah. She's doing all... And I keep her off the ground, so we don't need that. But she's doing all that. Miserable, and she never makes noise either, and I hate that. It's just irritable for her.
Well, Tanya, I'm having a little challenge hearing you, but I think I got the essence of the question here is that you have a young kitten that's having some ear problems, and you're adding some eucalyptus oil into the ears. Now, I have to caution you, I have an open mind when it comes to holistic therapies and natural remedies, but I do have some cautions. And cats are definitely a species that I'm very cautious when we start using essential oils and some of the natural remedies. There are many of these type of products which can actually be toxic. They can contain things like phenols that are actually quite toxic and cause liver problems, neurologic problems, and a common thing, tea tree oil, which a lot of people use for open cuts and wounds on animals, can actually really be very serious and dangerous for them. So my first recommendation is always going to be to try to find a medical reason on why we've got wax in a kitty that age, and especially if it's kind of a dark color, you described kind of a Bordeaux color, we might be looking at things like ear mites. So the best thing I can do and suggest for your kitty is to take a cotton ball or cotton swab, and we actually take a sample of that, look under the microscope, and we want to see if there's any little critters running around there. There are some types of remedies that we might consider if it's more just a wax buildup that are a little bit more in the natural type line of things. I'm not a fan, again, of putting those oils in the ear, though. So I'd get a good swab, get a diagnosis, and if we do have something like mites, there are some very sound and safe remedies that can be used, which are medications. But I would say that we'd want to direct only based on a diagnosis for a problem such as ear mites. So I'm going to say put the oil down and go to see your vet, and let's see if we can diagnose this kitty's ears. Thank you so much for your call, Tanya, and I hope that's of some help for you.
1-866-405-8405.
I can't understand her
That was Charlie Brown's mother, I believe, calling.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, this is Brandon McMillan on Animal Radio, and be sure to adopt and not shop.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our chicken rolled food as a meal or shred it as a topper.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
And I'm Lori Brooks. Scientists at Emory University in Atlanta have conducted one of the very first studies using brain imaging of dogs in order to figure out how they process words, specifically process those words that they've been taught to associate with objects, like a ball. But it's unclear whether the word ball or any other word for an object simply means, hey dog, pay attention, or if the dog really pictures and knows what that object is. Well, the lead researcher of this study says, we know that dogs have the capacity to process at least some aspects of human language because they can learn to follow verbal commands. But he says, previous research suggests that dogs may rely on many other cues in order to follow a verbal command. Maybe they're following your gaze or your gestures you're doing, or even emotional expressions from humans. And that, my friends, is why some dogs need to be told a command more than one time, because the dog isn't quite able to figure out what that gesture or expression you're doing at the time means. So what the experts say they expected to see in the brain imaging was really a surprise, and they say it was opposite of humans, because humans typically show greater activation in their neural pathways in their brain for words that we know and recognize, the more so than we do for new words. So dogs, though, always being eager to please people and get that treat or praise, they reacted more to unfamiliar words because they sense that their owner really wants them to understand it. So if you're saying, where's your ball, or go get your ball, the dog is like, okay, I know what that is. But if you were to say, where's the lava lamp? Go get the lava lamp. The dog would be, I don't know what that means, but I really want to understand. Give me another cue. Does that make sense?
So totally. You can just see the gears in their head turning.
You're explaining
Right.
Ladybug to the T.
Yes.
Well, there's some relief for those people who have service dogs and they need to travel through Oakland International Airport in California. The airport's Terminal 2 has just had its grand opening for a brand new $650,000 indoor service animal relief area. Now, think of the price tag on that, $650,000. This new space is only 100 square feet, or 10 by 10. That's like redoing a bedroom, a $650,000 bedroom in most homes. But this place it's totally ventilated with special ventilation. It's got a sink, poop bags, artificial turf, and a mini fire hydrant, so for those dogs who like to lift their legs. Well, Dogs for Diabetics, a group that pairs medical alert dogs with insulin-dependent diabetics, assisted with this project, trying to create an area that would make traveling with service animals more enjoyable and less stressful for dogs and their handlers. And it was just a few months ago, staff at the Sydney Aquarium in Australia noticed a brand new romance blossoming between two male Gentoo penguins. Their names are Sphen and Magic. Now, the penguin pair has been spotted going for swims together and even bowing to one another. That bowing, by the way, is a sign that they're both interested in being more than just friends. Now, Sphen and Magic, the same-sex penguin partners, have taken their relationship on to the next level. They are incubating a foster egg, which was given to them from another nest.
Huh.
Pretty cool, huh? But, it's
not that there's anything wrong
rare.
with that.
Right. But at first they didn't know what would happen if they were trying to incubate an egg, so they gave them a dummy egg so that they wouldn't feel left out when all of the other couples were breeding and able to produce an egg. But because Sphen and Magic couldn't produce an egg without any surgery or anything, they gave them a dummy egg, and they did so well with a dummy egg that then they decided to give them a real egg.
It's a new millennium.
It is.
And, everybody's fluid these days, right?
I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
1-866-405-8405. I believe we have Cheryl on the phone.
Yes.
You are on with Dr. Debbie.
Hey, Dr. Debbie.
Well, hi. How are you today?
I am good. I was actually calling on behalf of my mom. She has two male cats. Older, they have been neutered, but one has recently started spraying.
Okay.
And I thought maybe something was wrong with him. She seems to think that he's just upset that there's some construction going on around the house, and so he's doing it for attention.
Okay.
But I thought that maybe there's a problem with him. I mean, they're at least 6 years old. They've been neutered, and, he just started doing this.
And did you say this is a boy cat or a girl cat?
Boy.
Okay, this is a boy. Alrighty. And do you know the situation when he's doing this? Is he spraying on walls, corners, or is he going in certain areas of the home?
She's never seen him do it, but she said it's been on the wall in the living room, and he recently has started doing it in the kitchen.
That's unpleasant. And he's never had any kind of health problem as far as any kind of urinary infection, anything like that in his background?
No, he's overweight. That's it.
Okay. Well, gosh, 80% of the dogs and cats in the U.S. are overweight, so that's a problem. As far as, do you know, are the kitties indoors? Do they go outside at all?
Indoors.
Okay. Well, some of the different situations when we have cats that aren't used in the box that we really got to look at is we got to get basically in the mindset of the kitty and look at it from their eyes. Sometimes it is a behavioral problem. They're either marking territory, they are basically communicating with other cats in their midst. So that's a possibility. And there's a possibility we could be having a medical problem. Commonly we see urinary infections, sterile cystitis, we see stones, even things like diabetes and kidney problems, which will cause cats to urinate excessively, and they'll start to go in other areas. The one thing that you said is that if he's urinating on walls or on corners, that's kind of more of like a spraying or marking behavior. So we'd really have to look at some of the behavioral things going on in the home. And, if they're strictly inside, I always look in the immediate environment, check the outside area, see if we have feral cats, neighborhood cats that are in the area, which might be visiting them, and they can see visually through a window. In many cases, we need to really take those things into mind with our indoor kitties, close blinds, keep visual access away, because it's basically a chronic frustration for indoor cats if they see those cats or smell them through the doors. So I'd definitely want to look at that. And the other things that we look at is the litter. Cats are just as picky about their litter as some people are their shoes. So we need to look at the litter substrate, whether it's a clumping litter. Some cats prefer clay litter, and mixing that up and trying different things. The other thing is that when we look at litter pans, we want to have generally one more litter pan than per cat you do in the household. So I would look to make sure we have 3 litter pans somewhere within the home environment. Because if not, sometimes cats have nonverbal communication, and they will choose to go elsewhere if they cannot get to their litter pan. Another common problem I see with litter pans is we, as humans, like those little covers that go over the top of them, but cats don't always dig them, and it will really drive them to go elsewhere and to mark or to urinate elsewhere. So if you have a lot of covered litter pans, I'd take the lid off and give that a try without that. And then certainly we want to make sure that we look at any potential health problems. So if your mom hasn't taken the kitty in for a urinalysis or a urine check, I would really make sure that we do that, because we don't want to miss a medical problem and go down that behavior pathway, and make sure that's dealt with if it's appropriate.
Okay.
And there are some, other things. Has she tried any types of remedies or any kind of medications, anything along those lines?
No, she thinks it's his personality. He's upset, and he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, and some cats, they can be difficult, they can be challenging, and I was fortunate when I had kitties, I never had to deal with this, but my heart goes out to people who have to deal with cats that spray, because as much as you love your kitty, there's certain limits you have to have in your household. So if, all these other things are addressed, sometimes we'll actually turn to chemical help or drug therapy for cats that have behavioral related spraying. And there's some good different options out there, things, and I know the clinic cats. We've had some experience with one of them with Prozac or fluoxetine. There's several different behavioral meds which we can consider for cats to try to help them in managing their anxiety and their spraying. As well as some other types of natural things like pheromones, which we can use in the home to help kind of bring the anxiety down a little bit and hopefully help them cope with some of these inner cat type issues. So I've given you a lot to think about there. Has that been of any value for you there?
Oh, definitely. That gives me some ideas to pass on to her. I appreciate it.
Okay, and then certainly, make sure that we check that litter pan. Don't use ammonia in your litter pan or in the areas where you're cleaning. So we want to make sure because that actually attracts urine to those areas. So keep that litter box clean. Let's keep our kitties happy. And good luck to you, Cheryl, and to you and your mom. Let me know how things turn out for you. This is Dr. Debbie. If you've got a question for me, give me a call at Animal Radio. 1-866-405-8405.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Try our grain-free rolled food. It's protein-packed with less risk of food sensitivity.
Hi, everybody. This is Lori Morgan reminding you to please spay or neuter your pets.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Okay, Dr. Debbie has just come running into the studio looking flustered. What's going on? What
oh, my gosh. Well, we had a little eye emergency here at the old vet clinic today. And I got to say, this is one that, even veterinarians kind of go, ooh, when this happens.
Well, what happened?
It's bad if you said, ooh.
Yeah, because your tolerance, your ooh tolerance is pretty high.
It's just the gross factor's high. Yeah. So an unfortunate little young dog came in with her eye popped out of socket.
Oh.
How did that happen?
Yeah, so it's what we call a proptost eye. Proptosis is out of the globe. It happened, I guess the pet was actually under furniture and the owners didn't know as they were moving the furniture and then heard and saw the animal get out. So, but basically this can happen from, I've seen it with dogs that tend to fight with each other and say a bite goes around the neck. It puts pressure to the head and the pressure causes the eyes to pop out of the socket. We do see this more often in pugs, and short face breeds with those big round globy eyes. So it's a little bit more common in that, but it's a bit hard to look at. I gotta say. So.
Yeah. So you just have to pop it back in? Is that what you?
Well, yeah, we have to do a little releasing incision first and then put it back in and then we close it temporarily for a while because there's a lot of swelling after this has been out for some time. So hopefully we'll still have vision. It happened pretty recently, but sometimes it, damages the nerves to the eye and they can't see even though the eye is back in. So we're crossing our fingers. But yeah, it is a bit gruesome when you first see it.
This is exactly why I didn't become a veterinarian. I wanted to because I like playing with animals. I figured what a great job that would be. But it's these occasions like that, and then of course blood. I faint at blood. So.
See, that happened to me one time when I was babysitting. It happened to a 2-year-old. Her eye came out of the socket.
A child, or
yes,
a child,
a child. Yes, a human. And she turned around and looked at me, and it was like, I think I was 15 at the time, babysitting. I just went, oh my God!
Wow,
I'd never seen an eye pop out.
I've heard so much about you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to the phones, toll free 1-866-405-8405. Coming up in just a few minutes, Paul Rodgers, a singer from Bad Company and Free. Hey, Jermaine.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm well. I have a question regarding domesticated and wild cats. Are they able to mate?
Are they able, biology-wise, able to mate?
Well, are they able to mate and produce a litter?
It is It is conceivable. Now, when you're talking about wildcats, are you talking about things like lynxes or bobcats, things like that? Yes, it is certainly possible. However, I kind of would term that a dangerous liaison, if I could, because your average wildcat and domestic cat, if they meet up, it's not going to be a good outcome for the domestic cat, unless we're dealing with, human intervention or cats that have been kind of raised in different environments where they're used to human handling. But yeah, it's certainly possible. And there are a lot of breeds out there that are actually new exotic cat breeds where they kind of breed a semi-wild cat into that of a domestic shorthair. So it is possible. Why do you ask? I got to ask.
Well, I had a cat show up on my deck, and at first I thought it was a wild thing, and he has a bobtail. But then I discovered he's neutered, and he's declawed as well. He's huge. He is huge. And he's got this bobtail. He has no tufts. He's got like rabbit fur and a black stripe down his spine.
Sure, he's not a skunk. Oh, I guess that would be a white.
Yeah, really.
White
yeah, as far as we know, the skunks and the cats don't breed. Thankfully.
I was just curious because of his size and his coat that he just looks semi-wild.
Sure. And, a lot of these hybrid breeds, that's, some of the look they're going for is something that looks and retains the look of the wildcat and has the size and the, cuteness of the house cat. So I'm not a huge fan of hybrid cats. Now, equally, we see some very huge domestic cats out there, just in the Maine Coons, as well as the Norwegian mountain cats. Both of those breeds of cat can get around 25 pounds, so they can be a pretty sizable kitty and just be a regular old domestic house cat. So I'd be curious to know, though, and even if you could catch a picture of this kitty, I'd love to take a look, because there are some breeds like the pixie bob, which is basically a bobcat mixed with a domestic short hair, and they kind of have a little bit of a bobcat kind of look about them, and they're kind of interesting. So yeah, if you get a picture, I'd love to see
that too.
Yeah, he's pretty. We'll be going to the vet in a week and a half, and I'm kind of curious to see. I mean, he just showed up. He's moved in. He's extremely domesticated and greatly enjoys being in the house, so...
Well, and have to say, if he is, a hybrid breed, one of the first things I'd say is I'd check him for a microchip, because some of the hybrid breeds could go up to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. So they are not a cheap pet, and if someone lost them, they would be looking very dearly for them.
Right, so. Right. And, well, he's been living with me for about 2 months. I didn't expect him to stay, and now I feel responsible for his care. But we'll hunt for a chip, and we'll find out exactly what he is, and I will try to get a photograph of him for y'all.
That would be great. We'd love to see it. Thanks so much for your call today, Jermaine. By the way,
you're welcome.
Anybody that wants to email us with pictures or questions, your voice at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, this is Dean Koontz on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. The 2020 Mazda 6 is on sale now with a starting price of MSRP $24,000. A new key fob and signature badge are amongst some of the styling cues for Mazda's next generation design. It features either a Skyactiv G 2.5-litre engine delivering 187 horsepower or a Skyactiv engine that will produce up to 250 horsepower. To find your new Mazda 6, check out our reviews at ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
We love featuring celebrities that love their animals. We've had a lot of those on. In fact, over 1,000 in the last 18 years. And we add to that list today with Paul Rodgers, a singer from Bad Company and Free. You know, feel like making love, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. No? Do you know where
All right.
Now.
Okay, guys, stick to the day job, please.
You know what?
I wouldn't even try.
Yeah, don't even go there.
Thanks. Yeah.
Paul Rodgers, from Bad Company fame and Free fame, is rescuing animals, and I understand a lot of animals. So we're going to find out what that's all about. And of course, I believe his wife is helping him with this. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned earlier, Lori, if you're rescuing animals, there's usually someone else there helping you with that. Usually your spouse or your yeah, because it's not an easy job. That's for sure.
No, it's not. You know, and more often I realize we'll get a new foster. And, you know, there are some people who just don't make it through the beginning phase of fostering because everybody thinks it's going to be easy. Mm-mm. But there's really no difference between getting a new foster or getting a new dog or a new cat. Those first few weeks are just as stressful for the new animal and for the human being, but it takes much longer. And the more I do it, the more I'm thinking, you know, these businesses that are offering people a week of paternity leave to get their new pets acclimated, that's really the right thing because my latest foster has really taken me about 3 to 4 weeks, I would say, to get him acclimated into the pack, and now he's doing wonderful.
How do you distance yourself from a foster knowing that you're eventually going to hopefully find a home for that animal?
I usually do, but this one I'm not so sure.
Yeah. How many times have you been a foster failure? How many times have you?
Many times.
Too many to count.
Times, and many times when animals were unwanted by other people to adopt, they just, you know, maybe they had a handicap or a disability or were chronically ill. So, I mean, those needy animals are the ones that I really love. And this dog is a special needs dog, so.
What about you, Dr. Debbie? Did you get your dogs from the clinic? Were they animals that were unwanted or
Yeah, we get them all the time. And Boss is actually, the funny thing is Boss came into my husband's office and we were looking at believe it or not, a purebred dog at the time. And very hard to come by, breed I couldn't find. And my husband said, this, you know, little dog came in and, you know, he's not what you're looking for, but I said, well, I'll bring him home. We'll take a look. And then the funny thing is then like just a month or so afterwards, then at my office, we had a stray come in and it is now my in-laws dog. Oh. So we kind of just, you know, they come around all the time. So.
And they find us. One way or another, they find us.
They do. I do believe that people that are into animals in the rescue sense, we give off a vibe and animals pick up on this. Because as a kid, I think I had 5 dogs kind of wander into my life that I found homes for when I was under the age of like 15. And it just, I mean, there's just something that they know. They pick up on it.
Okay, we're going to find out what Paul Rodgers and his wife's deal is and what kind of animals they're rescuing. It's great to see a rock star, you know, somebody who really doesn't need to do this kind of stuff, is doing this kind of stuff. So that's on the way. Lori, what are you working on?
Well, chronic pain sufferers, they often end up at pain clinics with an opioid prescription. We've all heard this story before. Mm-hmm. But now researchers are looking into how pets, and specifically dogs, are helping these people.
Okay, that's on the way. We have Chuck on the phone. Hey, Chuck, how are you?
Okay. Yourself?
Very good. Where are you?
I just left Chicago.
Are you a trucker?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what's going on with your animals?
Okay, I got a dog that's 6 years old, half red bone hound and half pit bull mastiff. And it's the first time he's been on a truck with me in 6 years, and he's got a discharge from his penis. It's a bright yellow discharge. It gets all over everything. It's hard to clean up. I don't know if it's normal or do I need to take him to a vet? Give me an idea what's going on, maybe?
Sure. Now, you mentioned he's about 6 years of age. Is he neutered?
No, he's not.
Okay. Because when we're talking yellow stuff coming out of the penis in dogs, some degree of smegma is always normal in small amounts. And we're going to see more of that if a dog is not neutered. So this is kind of one of those kind of unsavory reasons why we might say, let's go ahead and neuter, because we know that we can decrease that amount from an unneutered dog to a neutered dog. Now the question is it an infection? It's hard to say, but because we know an intact male dog is going to have a certain degree of this stuff, it's just kind of an icky goo that kind of is going to always be around. You can't get rid of it unless we neuter him. Now, if it is an infection, I might expect to see some other signs going on. Maybe he's licking himself excessively, urinating a lot, having difficulty holding his urine. Those might be signs we have an infection, and a good trip to the vet might help to rule that possibility out. But otherwise, I can tell you when I had an intact male dog, everywhere he went, you'd see like these little glowing green spots that kind of landed on all the furniture in the house and on the carpets. So that may just be a matter of fact for having a neutered boy there.
All right, that's what I needed to know. I guess I'll take a trip and get them chopped off there.
Ow, that just hurt just thinking about it there.
Just chop those off.
1-866-405-8405 to connect with any one of the Dream Team anywhere. Oh. Hey, Cheryl, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Good. I have Dr. Debbie here. What's going on?
Hi. I have a toy poodle. She's 8 years old. And when she gets really excited, she starts like coughing or whatever, choking, kind of a kind of sound. And lately, she's been doing it more and more. Like when she gets excited, she'll just keep coughing and choking. And I don't know if something's wrong, or as they get older, they continue to do that. And sometimes even at night, it's almost like she's snoring or something. She's like while she's sleeping. So is something wrong, or is that normal for toy poodles?
Well, it kind of depends. There's a little distinction in this sound that we're going to have to see if we can make, and it's going to be a little challenging on radio because you can't see me and I can't see you. Now, this sound that she's doing, does it sound like she's about to cough up a hairball, or
yes,
does it?
Actually, when she does it, she has to kind of like choke and like she's dry heaving, like she's going to throw up, but nothing comes out. And then she's okay for a few minutes, and then she gets excited again and starts doing it again. That's how she stops doing it, is after she does that, like, dry heave.
Okay, because the questions I'd have is whether we're making a sound kind of like like we're trying to cough something up, or if we have more like what we call the reverse sneezing sound, which is really cool. It freaks a lot of people out, and I get many an emergency call about it. It's kind of more of a vibrational sound. Looks like an asthma attack, kind of like a...
Yes, like a croupy cough almost.
The second thing I mentioned is not really a cough so much as it sounds like they're trying to blow something in through their nostrils, or so it's not really a cough. Cough is on the exhale. This other sound, the reverse sneezing, is on the inhale. So it kind of looks like they're really stiff, sticking their neck out, and they're vibrational. So it's not really a cough. After a reverse sneeze, there's not really a gag or any kind of retching. It just kind of happens, and then it passes after a few minutes. So I guess I'm still not clear which situation your baby might be in. But I would say
she does that retching thing afterwards.
She does. Okay. So I'm going to call your situation more of a kind of a cough with kind of a gag or a retch. So in that situation, in a toy breed dog, it isn't unusual, but I'm not going to call it normal. The difference is because there are some small breed dogs that have problems with their trachea, where they have kind of a weak spot in their trachea and it collapses, and it can easily lead to a coughing bout in these guys. So that is a possibility. Now, the other things that we look at, bronchitis, heart disease, are also very common in poodles. So my best recommendation and the best way that I can help figure that out is to get an x-ray to see if we've got concerns with heart size or with this collapsing trachea, which many times we'll see it on an x-ray and it just looks like a straw flattened out. When they're sucking in air, it just collapses and they really can't get a good breath of air, and that causes a coughing response as well as other things with time. So that would be my first recommendation. Definitely before I would recommend, any kind of medications. Although the other thing we'll talk about is weight. And if we have any problem with excessive weight, respiratory problems in general can benefit greatly if we get slimmed down into a good, healthy weight.
Yeah, she's only like 9 pounds, so she's not, I don't think she's overweight.
No, sounds like she's quite petite, and that's exactly how those little gals are supposed to be. But yeah, I'd say for peace of mind, I would definitely, call your veterinarian. I'd get a chest x-ray. That would be the simplest thing. And, maybe nothing's going on. Maybe we need to see about treating some airway disease. And collapsing trachea is, in many cases, not serious, but in some cases, it can lead to a very severe respiratory emergency. So it's better to know your information ahead of time.
Okay, just try to keep her calm until I get her in there then.
Yeah, definitely. And, if she's nice and pink, she's not showing any problems, recovering after these episodes, then, certainly that kind of helps you gauge how fast you need to get into the vet. But yeah, I'd say as soon as possible. I would just recommend it for the peace of mind.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll make an appointment and get her in for a chest x-ray then.
Best wishes with you, Cheryl, and give your good baby a little pat on the head for us.
Okay,
this is Dr.
I will. Thank
Debbie.
you so much. Okay,
all right,
bye-bye.
thanks for your call.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
This healthy serving of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals canned food for dogs and cats. It's always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. You could learn more at redbarninc.com. And thank you, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Hey, this is Sean Hayes on Animal Radio. Remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Yeah, puppy pads are convenient, but sometimes they're really gross. That's why the Animal Radio studio stunt dog, Ladybug, uses the Brilliant Pad self-cleaning puppy pad. We love how it handles number 1 and number 2. It seals away the waste and replaces dirty pads for us. Brilliant Pad keeps our home clean and smelling fresh. All we do is replace the roll once every few weeks, and the process is fast and clean. In fact, Ladybug gives it 5 paws up. Learn more about it at brilliantpad.com.
Hi, this is Betty White. All us animal lovers love Animal Radio. Please help every way you can to make life better for our animals, like the Morris Animal Foundation does.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating the connection with our pets. And if you're driving around taking care of errands today, you have questions about your animals, and you don't have time to call in right now with those questions, that's okay. You can download the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry and ask your questions whenever your heart desires. Plus, you'll get all those recall notifications. If there's any kind of recall on any kind of food, we'll send you a notification right to your phone so that you know immediately. So it's a great app to download. Download it now. And if you haven't had a chance to visit the website lately, lots of fun stuff over there, including Animal Radio highlights. So if you can't handle all of the fat in between the meat, we just have the meat over there. Is that? I don't think I should say that on an animal show, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
It's good stuff over there. It's bite-sized vegan bits of Animal Radio over there. Does that work?
Yes, that'll work.
Just stop.
Just stop. Lori, what are you working on for this hour?
Well, there's a major U.S. city that has just issued an alert for a dreaded animal disease that you really need to know about. Yeah.
Okay, that's on the way. Well, they're all lit up. Let's just go to all of them at once. We can't do that?
No.
You have to one at a time. Okay.
Is it Susan? Hey, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Where are you today?
We are in Catawissa, Pennsylvania.
Wow, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Which side of Pennsylvania?
It's like Central Mountains.
Okay, are you listening on XM or WEEU?
WEEU.
Good station. Love those guys.
Great station.
How can we help you?
I actually have a question. I have a 6-year-old cat that suffered a stroke 2 weeks ago, and took her into the vet, and they ran all the tests. And my concern is we have other cats in the house, and we've been applying Feline Advantage for fleas on the other cats. We know the dose that she took wasn't what caused the stroke. That's what my vet's telling me. But my concern is on the 21st of this month, I need to retreat my cats, and I need to know what to do with her.
Okay. And is she currently in good health, recovered from things, or is she still kind of on the mend right now?
Actually, she is in pretty good health, I think. I mean, she's, other than, she has partial paralyzation on her left side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not terribly common in kitties unless we're dealing with something more of was there any kind of neurologic injury?
No, we went through all that. Nothing toxic, nothing. The only thing I could think of was the flea product, and my vet said, no, it's been too long. That would have happened within the first 2 days.
Okay. I'd say, it's not likely, but anything that might have been timed around the time when she fell ill, I'm just kind of a superstitious kind of person. So I would probably agree with you, as I wouldn't be a fan of using anything medicine-wise which was preceding this event. So that being said, what else can we do for flea control? And there's a lot of other ways we can go at things, various different topical products. If we're afraid of that kind of class of flea control, there are some different ones that we can try in an oral form. Okay. And, just like any other medicine, human or veterinary, there's always potential side effects. So I won't lie to you and say that one's going to be less of a problem or less likely to cause a problem for your individual kitty, but there may be different ways we can go at this. And some of the oral ones that work very effectively in cats, there's one called Capstar, which is a very quick kill, and it's in a tablet form. So that would be maybe a possibility of something to look at as an alternative. But otherwise, if you had to take a break for a month on your flea control for this individual baby, I don't know that I would say that you're going to lose total control of the flea household there. Okay. And, and I think I'd probably look at her as an individual as a little bit special needs right now.
Absolutely. And I just don't want, my whole thing was I was just going to confine her in a room for 2 days after I did the other cats. We have 34 cats.
Whoa. Holy moly.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put her in a room for 2 days and not have her around them. And I was kind of hoping that maybe I could do something in a more holistic way for her, where the flea, she would be the most susceptible to them, I think, because her health is not 100% right now. Now, I could be totally wrong on that, but...
And I'd say that the most natural thing you can do is actually to sit down with a flea comb and remove them individually. So if there are actually adult fleas on her, and that's a lot of times what we'll do when we have young pups and kittens, where they're just not old enough for a lot of the different products. And it's definitely one of the ways that we can kind of at least physically help to eliminate their parasite burden. Okay. So that would definitely be a consideration that I would look at. And I got to ask you, how in the heck do you corral 34 cats to do any kind of medical treatment on them at one time?
You do a couple at a time is really how it goes. They're all what society would call throwaways. It's sad. We live rural, and they just drop them off, sometimes in carriers, and leave them. It's beyond belief. But we do it, a couple at a time, the day that they all get treated on the same day, and it's just making a list of all their names and checking them off.
Wow.
Making sure you're okay.
What a job.
Double dose anybody, so.
Another good guardian, you sound like. Can I send you some world's best cat litter?
That would be awesome.
I'm going to do that. Hold on for 1 second, Susan.
Right,
1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hey, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear Free Pets, taking the pet out of petrified. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All-American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. Well, leave the dogs in the bedroom if you have chronic pain. New research out of Canada suggests sleeping with or near pets, that it can improve sleep for people who suffer from long-term chronic pain. As part of a larger University of Calgary study on the impact of dog ownership for people with chronic pain, the University of Alberta joined it and looked specifically at the impact of dogs on the quality of their patients' sleep. What they found was pain and sleep are very closely related in the neural pathways of the brain. And those who are sleep deprived, like people with pain, also experience pain more intensely. But dogs can help because they offer several positive benefits, according to these researchers. Those benefits being enforcing a routine for the people with chronic pain, getting some outdoor activity and movement, and providing companionship. The lead researcher on the sleep portion of this study says most people will remove animals from the bedroom so that there's less distractions and maybe more sleep. But he says that is not really sophisticated advice and doesn't take into consideration the context of people's lives these days and how important pets have become in our lives. Well, this is why pets should have rabies shots. All right, health officials in Florida have issued a 60-day alert there to be on the lookout around Miami-Dade County for rabies or animals with rabies after a second cat tested positive for rabies just last month. They had issued an earlier alert after the discovery of the first rabid stray cat in North Miami Beach. And because of these cases, one person is receiving rabies treatment now after trying to deal with an unvaccinated stray cat, and another person is being checked following a cat scratch. And 6 rabid raccoons, if you didn't hear, were also found on Miami Zoo property over the summertime. Finally, social media platform Snapchat has been pretty much hemorrhaging as many as 3 million daily users in the last 3 months. So now they need more bodies. They want your pet, and specifically your cat. Snapchat filters can now recognize your cat, but cats aren't the first pets that Snapchat filters can recognize. Last year, the company introduced object recognition, which recognizes food and sports equipment and even certain dog breeds. And now the company is finally giving cats their due. Probably about time, because cats are the internet, right?
You bet.
I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
That is the voice of our next guest. He has over 30 albums and he's sold over 125 million records, which is about 125 million more than I ever sold. If I ever put out an album. But I certainly grew up to this guy. Paul Rodgers is joining us. Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. I understand your wife is also there?
Absolutely. You know, we sold all of those albums from the back of our van. Pretty good, hey?
This is Cynthia, right?
Yes.
Well, how are you folks doing today? Set the scene. Where are you right now? What do you see?
Well, we're in the Okanagan, overlooking the Okanagan Lake. It's a beautiful autumnal day, or you call it fall here. And
sunny.
It's sunny and crisp.
And we just had a herd of deer come through our yard, about 12 deer.
The air is liquid gold. Yeah, we did.
Chipmunks are running in the yard. The cats are inside. A good thing to keep the chipmunks separate from the cats.
Well, tell us first about your indoor animals, and then we'll talk about the outdoor animals.
Well, that's really Cynthia's department. We have 6 cats. Do tell, sweetie.
Wow.
Actually, yeah. Well, we've had many, many more. We do rescues. They're all rescues. We don't go to breeders for cats. And they all have their various stories. We even have two from Mexico still. We did a number of rescues out of Mexico. We went down, and there was just horrific things going on with cats and dogs down there. So we stepped on it and stepped up and brought a whole bunch back. And I was meeting people at Vancouver International Airport, Paul and I.
Yeah.
And passing off cats.
International cat runners,
yes.
aren't we?
Is that legal?
Yeah.
Actually, it is, funnily enough, yeah.
And so I remember us going through LAX at one point, and we had, Paul was pushing the bag. No, I was pushing the baggage. We only had 2 bags. And then between us, we had 9 cats and cat carriers. So they were stacked up like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, going through customs in LA, coming up from Mexico. So, it's been interesting. And everywhere we go, we tend to run into animals that need feeding or watering or veterinarian care. And
yeah, we've fed cats in faraway places in Tokyo, in Japan, on the Queen Tour. Now, where was that?
Portugal.
Portugal, yeah. Cats and birds and dogs. We rescued a dog in Memphis, which
that's right.
Our producer took home and loves to bits.
Her name is Memphis Grace.
Memphis Grace, yeah.
Yeah. So it's so strange because when we were in Portugal, we were going out for dinner. It was a Queen and Paul Rodgers group. And all of a sudden, we're walking along, and everyone's all togged out. And this
dressed
swift...
for dinner,
yes,
you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
This swift bird falls from the sky and lands right in front of me. And everyone, Brian and Roger and Serena and Nita, they all just went, "It figures." It would not land in front of anyone else other than Cynthia and Paul. There we go. So we took the bird to the restaurant with us, and I kept it on, my lap. And
oh wow!
Yeah.
So the house is full of cats. Do they get free roam? Do they sleep in the bed with you at night?
No, I'm allergic.
Oh wow!
So,
how do you work that whole thing out?
Well, I get my breathe time when we're on the road and at night because they don't come into our bedroom. But because they're not herd animals, they're not designed to be together. So we have, 2 living upstairs. One now, her sister's just passed. She's downstairs. 2 in another room, and then 2 in another area. So they all have outdoor areas that are enclosed, so they can go out and get sunshine and that. But one of our old girls, she just lays in the windowsill now and lets the sun warm her old bones.
And we have a couple of young ones, Addie and Paddy, that really we were only fostering. And we took, and Addie looks, that's short for adventurer, I think.
Adventurer, yeah.
And she looks into your eyes, and she looks deep into your soul, and we're like, oh, no, you got to stay. So she stayed.
Well, it was funny because Paul said to me, he said, we're keeping that one, right, the furry one? And I went, why, I don't know, why do you ask? He goes, because she just looked deep into my soul. And I said, I know she does, doesn't she? And he said, yes. And I went, yep, we're keeping the 2 of them.
You're foster failures.
We big-time foster failures. Listen, at one point, Paul said to me, I was feeding in the kitchen. They were all living, communally. And he said, how many cats do we have? And I went, 12. And he went, okay, I just counted 15. And I went, oh, but we're not keeping those. I'm going to get home, blah, 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 blah.
You only really saw them all together at feeding time. They were all over the house. So he wasn't really, didn't notice that much. And then when feeding time came, whoa,
because I call 6 o'clock. I would just go 6 o'clock, and they'd all come running up from the various enclosures and that into the kitchen area. And Paul just went, "Oh, it's a lot of furage."
Yeah. Paul, I got to ask, when you first realized that your wife is going to be rescuing lots of animals, what did you think?
Well, I was a bit shocked when we'd been staying together for a little while, and she came home from. Where was it you flown from with the 3?
Oh, from here back to Vancouver.
Yeah. Didn't we call them the Kiss?
No. That was another rescue group.
Oh, that's a different one. Anyway, she turned up with these
3 kittens.
3 kittens, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I suspected a little bit there. But I like it. It's fine,
Who am I to judge, really? I mean, I should be the last person to call anyone a cataholic or,
that's
call
true.
anyone out on that.
How many do you have?
You know what? I stopped keeping track, really.
Oh boy,
wow.
That's not true. That's not true. I had a lot, and I've.
We had 5,
yes,
but they've.
We have 1 left now.
Yeah, they've slowly passed away. They were getting elderly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad that we way outlive our pets, don't we?
Know.
We had to say goodbye to our Saxon. He was
our dog.
He was a rescue dog. Yeah.
It's not easy. And when you tell people about it, some people, they don't even, they laugh at you.
Oh, no. There's that connection, that heart and soul connection to animals. And it was interesting because my niece came over one day and she said, Auntie, you should really set up like a sanctuary. And I went, have you not looked around you? Like, have you not seen that, in one area of the house, the furniture is covered in plastic with white sheets over it? You didn't notice that? She went, oh, you're right. She goes, no, but with a name and all that. And I said, it does have a name. She goes, well, what's it called? And I said, all right, meow.
All right, meow.
Meow.
Baby, it's all right.
Meow.
Instead of all
I must write a song. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, you need to write a song.
Yeah, I do. I'll get right on it.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I understand that you visited some wild animal sanctuaries, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We are with Paul Rodgers and his wife, Cynthia, and it is Animal Radio. Stick around.
This is
Animal Radio.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. The Chrysler Voyager returns for the 2020 model year as a low-priced version of the Pacifica. It will replace the Pacifica L and LX models and will be offered in 3 trim levels, L, LX, and LXI. The LXI will only be sold to fleet customers. The Voyager comes with a standard 3.5-inch digital information display and offers the Uconnect 4 system, a 7-inch touchscreen, and standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. To find your new Chrysler, go to ourautoexpert.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service. For professional parts people you can trust, stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
We are with musician and artist Paul Rodgers and his wife Cynthia, and I'm just learning that Paul and Cynthia are rescuing animals like nobody's business. So what's this Aspen Valley Wildlife Sanctuary? Where is it, and what is your involvement with it?
Well, it's in the Muskokas. When we finished the Free Spirit tour, we couldn't come home here because the place was on fire. It was so much smoke in BC. And they couldn't breathe here. So we went to the Muskokas for 9 days, and we rented a little place on the lake there. And
we went 5 years ago was our first visit to Lake Rosso, which is where the Aspen Wildlife Center is. And they do great work there. In fact, there was a story that received international attention where 3 bear cubs were found in a washroom in our national park in Alberta, Banff National Park. And someone, I think, had killed the sow, the mother, and put the babies there, or someone had found the babies and put them in the loo, knowing that the warden would find them. And they were less than 3 pounds each when they were found, tiny little beings. And in the province of Alberta, at that point, they would not rehabilitate any orphaned wildlife. They would euthanize. So the warden, I guess, took it upon himself to contact Aspen, and Aspen and WestJet stepped up, our local airline here, and they flew the animals out to Aspen, and they basically nurtured them for a year. The first year of a bear's life, it cannot be released to the wild because the mother would be with it, instructing it how to, hibernate, how to fuel up, all of that. Mm-hmm. And without that first year, they will not survive. It's impossible. So they spent one winter with them, coaching them. They actually wore costumes that smelled of bear.
Wow.
Don't ask me how they did that, but they wore masks and all of that. So they would go in, and then these babies got larger and larger and got to the point where they were trying to climb up them when they were 40 pounds. And, the people who were doing the feeding were like, yeah, well, no, that can't do that. So they did it really well, and they released them in July of this year. And so they've had their year, and they've got tracking devices on them, and they're all doing well. And the best part of all is...
Well, they have a kill policy. They will not release them. They euthanize them. But now they've changed that ruling.
In Alberta, yeah.
Because they've proven it can be done. They can be reared and then put back into the wild, which is a beautiful thing.
Yep. So they brought them right back to Banff National Park and released them. So I'm actually going to work on a story about the three bears. Because it's a different three bears story than the one that we all know.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
But they have every type of animal there. They have a moose named Ella, who's lovely. It seems that her mother had 3 calves, which is generally they have 2.
Wow,
Deer are the same.
yeah.
And but this one had 3, which she couldn't nurse, so she left one. She abandoned one, and a family found this young moose, so they took it in and didn't know the right combination of protein, how much protein it needed, so fed it what they thought would work. And the deer, as it became more lively, was jumping and broke its hind leg. So they called Aspen and said, look, we've done this. We know we're not supposed to keep wildlife, but now we're really in a pickle here. So Aspen took Ella, and they had to cast her leg. And then as a result, her front legs are now fairly weak, so she can't be released back to the wild. It would be cruel. So she's the resident moose, and
And the keeper, he speaks,
Yes.
What was it?
His name is Howard. He's a biologist.
Yeah, he speaks moose, doesn't he? Because he said, just stay there for a minute. And he went into this enclosure, and he sort of made these sounds like, hoo, hoo, hoo. Oh, that's a monkey, sorry. No.
Like this.
And there was an answering response. And then the trees parted in this enormous prehistoric-looking creature. Well, it was a baby still, but it was big to us, right? And it came sloping out of the bushes. It was just beautiful.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she came right to the fence, and I fed her a banana.
And it was interesting because Howard gave her a banana and gave her the whole banana, and she ate it. And then when Paul was feeding her, she looked at him, and her eyes just said, "Can you just hold it for me?"
Yeah.
And he said...
Yeah, because they don't have top teeth or bottom teeth.
They don't have...
They don't have what?
They don't have bottom teeth. They tear foliage from, and that's how they eat, and they sort of just do it like that. So if you can hold the banana, which I did, she was able to tear at it with the top teeth, you see, and get it down.
Yeah, it was very sweet.
Yeah.
But very, very interesting looking. I actually kissed her on the nose. She had this velvety nose, and
it was interesting to see a baby, and she was such a baby in their eyes and everything, but she was enormous.
About 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
200 pounds of baby.
Yeah.
We're patrons of an animal sanctuary in Aberdeen, Scotland, Willows, and that really has our heart, and we've been supporting them for probably about 7 years now. And they do a lot of good work, and they're in a very repressed area of Scotland. So we often do fundraisers for them and hold online auctions, and have kept them going, definitely for the last 3 years by heavily funding them and shaming our friends into making donations as well. You don't have to be in our pet book. However, if you'd like to make a hefty donation, that would be welcome. Okay, I'll be in your pet book. Or, okay, I'll send them $30,000. Great.
Yeah.
Well, your genuine passion just vibrates through the phone.
Brings a smile to our face.
It really does. It's great. And so I do want to give out the website of the Aspen Sanctuary, the Aspen Valley Wildlife Sanctuary, which is aspenvalley.ca. And, of course, we'll put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet. I appreciate you folks taking time to visit with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, our time has come to an end, at least just for this week. Remember, if you need your fix, head on over to the website at animalradio.pet or download the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry, and then you get your fix whenever you need it. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.